Hey everybody, I'm Kathy Hester. Welcome to my kitchen, and today I've got two things for you. I've got a recipe where we're going to make homemade Nutella, or a Nutella-like substance, because it's not going to have all those additives, and it's certainly not going to have any milk powder in there. It's going to be all vegan all the time. There are going to be a few different options as well, because I'm Kathy and that's what I do. And I've really been waiting to show you this whole personal cup adapter for your Vitamix. You don't have to have a Vitamix to make this. You just need a strong blender. Or it might just take a little longer. You could even make this probably in your food processor, but we're making a smaller amount, so unless you have a small food processor, it's probably going to be a little bit harder. So we'll start with the recipe. So I've got 1 cup of vegan chocolate chips. I got mini chocolate chips, and honestly, I'm just going to melt them today in the microwave. Usually what I do is I'll put this in a small slow cooker, but you could also heat it on a double boiler over the stove. We just want it melted. I've already roasted these raw hazelnuts, if your hazelnuts are already roasted. And I roasted them probably for about 15 minutes. And you can start to smell when it's good. And I used about 350-degree oven. Now, I want to show you this one thing about the hazelnuts, but first, let me go ahead and put these in the microwave. I'm going to do it slowly, about 30 seconds at a time. So we want to get the skins off of these hazelnuts. So I'm going to show you from above. And after they're roasted, you just literally rub them together, and the skins start coming off. It's really easy, and this is going to make a smoother nut butter. And also, the skins can be a little more bitter than the actual nut itself. So we'll just keep repeating this until most of it's done. Every single one doesn't have to have the skin removed. If the skin doesn't want to come off, you can let it be. But I'll do this for a couple more minutes, and then we'll be back. Okay, I wanted to show you kind of how the chocolate's going. I don't know if you can see it's getting melted around the edges, but not in the middle. Okay, so what I'm going to see, how you can see how some of it's starting to melt. And you don't have to mix it every single time. I just want to see if maybe I could do 45 seconds, and I think I probably could. Okay, so I'm going to put that back in the microwave. And the same kind of process is going to happen even if you're doing it in a double boiler over the stovetop. Okay, and this was 45 seconds more. Just got some chocolate out of line. And you can see also a lot of the hazelnuts, I've been getting the skins off of those. And see how it's more melty. So some of the melty chocolate will help warm up the rest of it. And we can see how close we are. We may be able to just do it, or you might have to stick it in the microwave for another couple of minutes. I would, at this point, maybe even go back to 20 or 25 seconds. Cut it back a little bit. But you can see where we're headed with all this. Okay, and now we can see the chocolate's perfectly melted and smooth. Right? And these are the hazelnuts that I got the skins off of. This is what this looks like. I'm thinking I might even infuse and either make an extract, the hazelnut extract, or maybe some frangelica with that. So now let's talk a little bit about this, because one of my issues sometimes with the Vitamix is that when you have those big containers, this is not going to work very well. So what this is actually a bottom, and it fits right on here. You don't put stuff in it and pour everything in there. You're going to put stuff in here, then we're going to screw this on, then we're going to blend. So it's almost, or at least very similar to like a Ninja or a NutriBullet as far as that goes. This doesn't fit every single size. I'm not sure if it fits the fancy ones like the Ascent. Mine's an older model. Do I even know what model it is? Here we go. It's VM0102D, whatever that means. Okay. And what it comes with is, I think I got this on sale, and I think it was about $100. And it comes with lids for these. So they're looking at this as like a smoothie making enterprise, which I think would be super helpful if you're just making them for one. So you've got these lids that you can knock things over with, or, wow. Okay, this is sealed, people. So you get 2 of those, 2 lids, 2 of these, and this is one I've used before. Okay, so it's already washed up, these 2 things. So that's what's in here. And I don't know if we'll ever use these, but we could. Now, one of the things that it talks about in here is how to layer these things. Also, another thing to note, you should not expect to do hot things in here. So you know how we can take the big container in our Vitamix, let it go forever and make a hot soup. It's recommended not to do this. So this isn't the same idea. But the recipes they have in here for like smoothie, green protein drink, apple beet juice, which is where you blend everything up and strain it. So if you don't have a juicer, that can be really handy. Cashew milk, almond milk, which I like the idea of having, you know, making cornmeal, flax meal, chopped cheese, which we won't be doing, chopped nuts, vinaigrettes and things like that. So I'm very anxious to see how it does with this. I've not done it, but they have a little chart, and I'll let you guys see that from. So this chart, hopefully you can kind of see it. There we go. Is how you should load it. So at the bottom should be ice and frozen ingredients, then fruits and vegetables, then leafy greens, then dry goods like grains, powders, and then liquids. So I think what I'm going to do for this, I'll move this out of the way, is I'm going to consider this to be the solid, and there's a few more little pieces of hazelnut skin in there, and then I'm going to put in this chocolate. And if you wanted to, you could add salt to this. You could add a little extra maple syrup. If this isn't going to blend at all, I will probably add a little maple syrup to it, or date syrup. Or you could also do this with, instead of using chocolate chips, you could have soaked dates and cocoa powder. So that's a way you can make this whole food plant-based very easily. But this also, this way, you know, it's still the holidays, and I don't know if anybody got presents from people they weren't expecting, but I bet those people would love some Nutella as a gift. So this would also be real easy. Hazelnuts can be expensive. We were at a discount grocery, and I literally, all those hazelnuts that were on that baking sheet were 99 cents. I couldn't believe it. Okay, so we'll see, and I'll let you see from the front. Okay, so we're going to try it like this and see what happens. So I'm going to put this on down this way, and we're going to just make sure it's on really good. That's the thing I hate most about the Ninja. We'll see how this works. Oh, there we go. Everything's falling through now. It's making me feel a little better. Okay, let's start blending. I think it needs a little more liquid. Let me see if I can see any of the things that have gone through. I'm going to try it one more time, and then I'm going to add a little bit more maple. I'm going to add some maple syrup. You could add non-dairy milk. You could also add melted coconut oil, which is traditionally what's used in something like this. Yeah, it's just too thick. And before you start thinking it, because it's almost January, it's not because it's cold, because it's 70 degrees here today. Okay, now it's kind of doing it though, but I think it could use just a little help. Let me show you what we got. So one, it's going to make a little mess from that, just like the Ninja does, right? Every time you take it off and put it back on, it's a little bit more messy. It is starting, but it just needs a little more liquid. So I'm going to put a tablespoon or 2 of maple syrup in here. I'm going for 2-ish. And you are welcome to measure it. I don't care if this is a little bit thinner. At this point, I just would like it to blend, please. So I'm going to put this back on. And let me start from the front again. So it's going to be a little more messy. It'll be interesting. There's some stuff on this side. Make sure it's really solid. And let's see if that liquid is enough. Still pretty darn thick. And I'm going to shake it a little bit and we're going to see what happens. Okay. I think it's getting there. Some of the maple syrup is coming back down too. Okay, so I think we need more liquid. Oh yeah, this is super too thick. I feel like the liquid is actually kind of draining to the bottom, which is weird with it being upside down. So I'm going to see if I can get some of this stuff in. Smells really, really good. So I'm gonna see what I want to put in there, because it's just, I feel like, too thick, and I'll let you see it again from here. See, and I've actually kind of checked it out. It's actually more of like a hazelnut meal, and the liquid stuff is coming towards the bottom, which I thought it would be kind of caught up at the top when we flipped it over. I'm going to try putting a couple of tablespoons of almond milk in here. That's probably about 2 tablespoons. So we'll see if we can get to it before it goes all the way down to the bottom. It's never to return. And I know it's hard to see at the top here, it's blanked out, or I would be showing you the overhead view. We'll move this along. Okay, it's not all done yet. I can see. I'm just going to take it off to kind of shake some more of it down. Because this is the thickest. I've not tried anything super thick with this before. Yeah, that definitely sounds like it's done. And there's some little pieces of chocolate hazelnut goodness. I'm trying to see what's kind of floating down to the bottom. This may be a little thinner than what I originally had hoped for, but I think, oh, it looks pretty awesome. Ooh, and the bottom part, it's metal, and that was hot. So be careful. So the bottom part here is metal, so be careful when you touch it, like I pretty much just did. Look at that. It might be able to go a little bit more. I still see that it could be a little smoother, and maybe that means it needs a little more water, or in my case, almond milk, because that's what I had. You could use anything. So let's let's also give it a taste. And I'm going to try and get some of this thick stuff out from around the blades to put back in there, which is very similar to what I would do for a Ninja's type blender, which is an upside down blender, which this container creates for us. But I just love the idea of doing some nut butters and things. And hazelnuts are a particular hard nut as far as grinding things up. I'm sure it could do pecans in a heartbeat, and we'll probably do another video on that. I'm trying to decide if I want that to be smoother. Oh my God. It tastes so good. And it doesn't really feel gritty unless I'm really looking for it. So this will probably be fine, but since we're experimenting, let's see how messy this gets when I put this back on another time. And again, this is all metal down here, so it's very easy to burn yourself if you've been blending for a while, like I did. So I'm going to see if we can just, because things were blending just fine, it wasn't sticking or anything. And I just want to let it go a little longer. It might be sticking now. It's very hard to see what's going on. Everything's at the top. So I don't love that. I'm going to shake this until it comes down more. So again, some of the I don't love it about the upside down blenders do come in here, but this is a more powerful thing. So instead of doing this in the Ninja and just being like, oh, well, it's okay, I give up, I feel like we can get this to go back down again and blend it up a little bit more. Let's see, it's catching something now. Okay. So now, let's see how that is. And again, let's also see if I can open this without touching the middle, because I have little hands. Okay, I managed to do that. Yeah, and it's just a little bit smoother. See? And it tastes awesome. So I would call this a win. Now, this is not necessarily what this is made for, and what I did notice in the Getting Started guide is they did not put any recipes for nut butter in there. They do have chopped cheese, chopped nuts or garlic. They do talk about making small batches of flour like brown rice flour and cornmeal, which I think is really interesting, as well as the vinaigrettes and smoothies and cashew milk, almond milk. Those are things usually you're making in a larger batch, but if you just needed a cup to make something for dinner, this would be a really good solution. So I'm really interested in trying it for a lot of other things. I'm definitely going to push it to its limits and see how that goes. Okay, thanks so much, and I'll have that Nutella recipe below.